Apollo is one of the most renowned and revered Greek gods in Greek mythology. He is the son of Zeus with the goddess Leto, and he is the twin brother of Artemis, the goddess of hunting. The gods were born on the legendary floating island of Delos. After being fixed to the bottom of the ocean, the island became a sacred place. The god is usually represented with his lyre, or the famous bow. The artists have always been very generous in their representations of Apollo. Myths always describe this god as a figure of unparalleled beauty, symbolizing the Greek ideal of male beauty. Apollo was young, tall, handsome, strong, and charming. But despite all these qualities, he was unlucky in love. Many of his relationships ended in tragedy. In other cases, he was not reciprocated, and in the case of Daphne and Cassandra, they both rejected Apollo. The nymph Daphne, to escape the god's onslaughts, was turned into a laurel. The plant was eventually associated with the god, and the laurel wreath became one of his symbols. In turn, Cassandra, who had the power to predict the future, was cursed for rejecting the god, and although she was able to see the future, her power of persuasion was taken away. So, even though they were true, no one believed in her prophecies. Apollo is a god with several attributes. He is considered the god of light, the god of prophecy, the god of medicine, the god of arts, the god of archers, among other designations. He is also the god of music, with his inseparable lyre, produced by Hermes. With it, Apollo enchanted the muses while playing his instrument on Mount Helicon. He had a son with his muse, Calliope, called Orpheus, who inherited much of his father's talent for music. The cult of Apollo spread rapidly throughout Greece. The god of light greatly increased his importance, becoming identified as a solar god, conquering the position that traditionally belonged to the titan Helios. The god is also known as an exceptional archer, and when he reached maturity, he set out in search of vengeance against the serpent Python, who persecuted his mother at Hera's behest at a time when the god and his sister were only babies. Apollo faced the terrible serpent and struck it with his arrows. In the place where the beast fell, the temple of Apollo was built in Delphi. There, the priestesses of Apollos, known as Pythias, performed their prophetic rituals under the influence of Apollos, the god of prophecy. Delphi became a place of pilgrimage. Many wanted to ask the oracle of Apollo for advice. The Pythian Games also took place in Delphi, similar to the Olympic Games, dedicated to the god Apollo. Apollo is a deity associated with medicine. His son, Asclepius, became such a skillful healer that through his healing arts, he was able to cheat death. But Apollo also has a sinister side. The god is associated with pests and epidemics. During the Trojan War, he cast a pestilence upon the Greeks, since they had disrespected one of his priests, who wished to pay the ransom for his captured daughter. In the Trojan War, Apollo supported Trojans, and it was this that allowed Paris to shoot an arrow into Achilles' heel, his only weak point. In Rome, the god was known as Phoebus the Brilliant, where he was also much worshipped. Apollos, as the god of prophecy, used his powers as a link between men and gods. Through his oracles, the god revealed the will of Zeus and also the destiny traced by the Moirae. When Apollos cast his light on something, any lie was undone, revealing only the purest truth. The god associated himself with the search for truth and rationality. Therefore, he was honored by the ancient philosophers. The importance of the god Apollos made his cult last for centuries, even after the adoption of Christianity by the Roman Empire. Although he is no longer worshipped, Apollo continues to be referenced by painters, sculptors, and poets who pay their respects to the god, considered the patron of the arts.